The vast emptiness of space was suddenly broken by a fleet of sleek, silver ships. They moved with a grace that spoke of advanced technology and centuries of space travel. These were the scouts of the Galactic Empire, the self-proclaimed rulers of the cosmos. For millennia, they had expanded their reach across the stars, conquering or absorbing every civilization they encountered. Now they had their sights set on a new prize, a small blue planet in a backwater solar system. Captain Zorn, a veteran of countless first contacts, stood on the bridge of the lead ship. His tentacles twitched with excitement as they approached the third planet from the system's sun. Primitive life signs detected, reported his sensor officer, a being that looked like a cross between an octopus and a computer. Zorn's mouthparts clicked in amusement. Another easy conquest for the Empire, he thought. Little did he know, he was about to make the biggest mistake of his life. As the Imperial fleet entered the outer reaches of Earth's solar system, they were met with an unexpected sight. A massive space station orbited the red planet they would later learn was called Mars. It was unlike anything the Empire had ever seen before. Its design was both beautiful and terrifying, with sharp angles and glowing blue energy fields surrounding it. "What in the name of the Emperor is that?" Zorn exclaimed, his usual cool demeanor shaken. Before anyone could answer, a swarm of smaller ships erupted from the station. They moved with impossible speed and agility, surrounding the Imperial fleet in seconds. Zorn's communications officer reported an incoming transmission. A holographic image appeared on the bridge. It showed a bipedal creature with no tentacles or extra appendages. The being spoke in a calm, clear voice that was somehow translated into the Empire's standard language. "Greetings, visitors. I am Admiral Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted space. State your purpose or prepare to be escorted out of our solar system." Zorn was shocked. No primitive species had ever greeted the Empire with such confidence. He quickly regained his composure and replied, "We are the Galactic Empire, rulers of 1,000 worlds. We have come to offer you the privilege of joining our great civilization." Admiral Chen's expression didn't change. "We appreciate your offer, but we must decline. Earth and its colonies are not interested in becoming part of any empire. We value our independence." Zorn's tentacles curled in anger. How dare these primitives refuse the Empire's generous offer? He was about to order an attack when his weapons officer shouted in panic, "Captain, our scans show that each of those small ships carries enough firepower to destroy our entire fleet." For the first time in his long career, Zorn felt fear. He looked at the human admiral's hologram and saw no fear, no hesitation, only a calm readiness that sent chills down his spine. "Perhaps," Zorn said slowly, "we should discuss this further. Would you be willing to receive a diplomatic envoy?" Admiral Chen nodded. "We would welcome peaceful dialogue. You may send a small, unarmed ship to our Mars station. We will transmit coordinates shortly." As the transmission ended, Zorn turned to his crew. Their usual arrogance was replaced by uncertainty and even a hint of fear. They had come expecting to find savages cowering in mud huts. Instead, they found a spacefaring civilization with technology that rivaled, or perhaps even surpassed their own. "Send word to the Emperor," Zorn ordered. Tell him we may have found our match." As the Imperial fleet retreated to a safe distance, the human ships returned to their station. On Earth, in the grand halls of the United Earth government, leaders from around the world gathered to discuss this historic moment. "So," said the president of the United Earth Alliance, "it seems the universe is not as empty as we thought. Are we ready for what comes next?" The room fell silent. Humanity had prepared for this moment for generations, but now that it was here, the weight of it was almost overwhelming. They knew that their actions in the coming days would determine the fate of their species and perhaps the entire galaxy. As the sun set on Earth that day, its people went about their lives, blissfully unaware that their world stood on the brink of a conflict that would reshape the cosmos. The Galactic Empire had arrived, expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they found humanity, ready, waiting, and unafraid. The stage was set, the pieces were in motion, and the universe held its breath, waiting to see what would happen when an unstoppable force met an immovable object. The Mars space station buzzed with activity as the small Imperial shuttle approached. Human soldiers in sleek, powered armor stood at attention, their weapons holstered but ready. The air was thick with tension as the shuttle's doors hissed open. Out stepped three beings, each more alien than the last. The leader, Ambassador Psylocke, was a tall, insectoid creature with shimmering blue scales. His companions were a gelatinous blob that changed colors rapidly and a floating crystal that hummed with energy. Admiral Chen greeted them with a polite nod. "Welcome to Mars Station. I hope your journey was comfortable." Psylocke's mandibles clicked. It was adequate. "We are here to discuss your integration into the Empire. I assume you are ready to see reason." Chen's face remained neutral, but his eyes hardened. "Actually, Ambassador, we have a counter-proposal. We invite the Galactic Empire to peacefully coexist with humanity. We have no desire for conflict, but we will not surrender our independence." The crystal being chimed in, its voice like tinkling glass. "Surely you jest. The Empire spans galaxies. Your species is confined to a single solar system." Chen allowed himself a small smile. "Are we? I think you'll find humanity is full of surprises." He led the delegation to a large view screen. With a wave of his hand, the screen came to life, showing images that made the Imperial ambassadors gasp. Human colonies on distant planets, massive fleets of warships unlike anything the Empire had seen, and most shockingly, footage of humans using technology that seemed to bend the very fabric of space-time. How is this possible?" Psylocke stammered, his usual arrogance crumbling. "We've kept ourselves hidden, Ambassador," Chen explained. "We've explored the stars in secret, preparing for the day we'd encounter other civilizations. We hoped for peace, but we prepared for war." The blob ambassador gurgled nervously. "The Emperor will not stand for this. He will crush your puny civilization." Chen's voice turned cold. "Then the Emperor is a fool. We are giving you one chance, one opportunity to avoid a conflict that will shake the foundations of your empire. Leave our space. Never return. This is not a request. It's a warning." Psylocke's antennae twitched with indignation. "You dare threaten the Galactic Empire? We have conquered civilizations far more advanced than yours. Have you?" Chen asked quietly. "Or have you simply bullied those weaker than you? I wonder, Ambassador, when was the last time the Empire faced a real challenge?" The crystal being chimed angrily. "We will not be intimidated by primitives who have barely left their own planet." Chen sighed, looking genuinely sad. "I had hoped you would listen to reason. But I see now that the Empire's arrogance blinds it to the truth." He tapped a console, and suddenly holographic projections of Earth's leaders appeared around them. The President of the United Earth Alliance spoke, her voice firm. "Ambassadors of the Galactic Empire, hear me. We, the people of Earth, extend one final offer of peace. Leave our space now, and we can avoid bloodshed. Stay, and you will face the full might of humanity." The Prime Minister of the Martian colonies added, "We have watched your empire expand unchecked for too long. No more. The line is drawn here." One by one, leaders from every human world and colony echoed the sentiment. Their message was clear and unified. Humanity would not bow. They would not surrender. And they were ready for war. Psylocke's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. This is unprecedented. The Emperor must be informed." Chen nodded. "Go. Tell your Emperor what you've seen here, and give him this message. Run. Run as fast and as far as you can, because if you choose war, we will bring the fight to every corner of your empire. We will liberate every world you've conquered. And in the end, We will stand victorious over the ashes of your once great civilization." The Imperial ambassadors left in a hurry, their usual pomp and ceremony forgotten. As their shuttle sped away from Mars Station, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had just awoken a sleeping giant. Back on the station, Admiral Chen watched the shuttle disappear into the darkness of space. A junior officer approached him, looking worried. "Sir, do you think they'll listen? Will they run?" Chen's face was grim. "No, Lieutenant. I don't think they will. The Empire's pride won't let them. But we had to try. We had to give them a chance." "So what happens now, sir?" Chen turned to face the vast starfield visible through the station's windows. His voice was quiet but filled with determination. "Now we prepare for war. A war unlike any the galaxy has ever seen. May whatever gods exist have mercy on us all." As the news spread across human space, a mix of fear and determination gripped the population. They had hoped for peaceful first contact, but they had prepared for this. Now, as the storm clouds of war gathered, humanity stood united, ready to fight for their freedom and their very existence. The Galactic Empire had no idea what they had just unleashed, but they were about to find out. The grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Coruscant Prime echoed with angry shouts and desperate pleas. Emperor Zix, a being of pure energy contained within a golden exoskeleton, listened as his advisors argued. "We must crush these upstart humans immediately," roared General Kraz, slamming his fist on the table. Ambassador Xylok, still shaken from his visit to Mars, spoke up. "Your Majesty, we shouldn't underestimate them. Their technology." Silence. The Emperor's voice crackled like lightning. "We are the Galactic Empire. We do not run from primitives. Prepare the Armada. We will teach these humans their place in the universe." As the Empire mobilized its vast forces, drawing ships and troops from 1,000 worlds, humanity was not idle. On Earth, in the underground command center of the United Earth Defense Force, Admiral Chen briefed the world's leaders. "The Empire has rejected our offer of peace," he said, his face grim on the massive view screen. "Our deep space probes confirm they're gathering a fleet larger than anything we've ever seen." The president of the United Earth Alliance stood up. "Then we have no choice. Initiate Operation Thunderbolt." Across the solar system, hidden facilities sprang to life. On the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, massive shipyards revealed themselves, launching fleets of sleek, advanced warships. On Mars, gigantic cannons emerged from the red sands, capable of launching projectiles at near-light speed. But Earth's greatest weapon remained hidden, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, lead scientist of Project Nexus, stood before a machine that defied conventional physics. It was a sphere of swirling energy, contained by fields of exotic matter. "The Nexus is ready," she reported to Admiral Chen. "If the Empire brings the fight to Earth, we'll be ready to counter with something they've never seen before." Meanwhile, in the asteroid belt, a different kind of preparation was underway. Captain Jack Harper of the stealth ship Shadow led a team of elite operatives on a daring mission. "Remember," he told his diverse crew of humans and AI, "our job is to infiltrate the Empire's communication networks. We need to know their plans before they do." As the Shadow slipped through space, practically invisible to sensors, Harper couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and dread. The fate of humanity might well rest on the success of their mission. Back on Earth, in cities and towns across the globe, civilians prepared for the coming storm. Air raid shelters were stocked, evacuation plans were rehearsed, and volunteers lined up to join the defense forces. In a small town in Kenya, young Amani Okoro hugged her parents goodbye. "I'll make you proud," she said, boarding the transport that would take her to the Luna training base. She was just one of millions answering humanity's call to arms. On the far side of the moon, hidden from Earth's view, the Luna base hummed with activity. Here, humans trained alongside synthetic allies. Advanced AIs in robotic bodies, united in the defense of their shared home. Commander Sarah Lee, a veteran of the Mars Rebellion, watched as her trainees ran combat simulations. "Faster," she barked. "The Empire won't give you time to think. You need to react, to become one with your tech." Amani, sweating in her powered armor, pushed herself harder. She knew the stakes. Every soldier, every ship, every weapon would be needed in the coming war. As days turned to weeks, the tension grew. The Empire's fleet drew ever closer, but humanity's preparations were not yet complete. In his office on Mars Station, Admiral Chen looked out at the stars. He knew that somewhere out there, an armada was coming to destroy everything he had sworn to protect. His AI assistant, AI, spoke up. "Admiral, the latest reports from Captain Harper's team have arrived. The Empire's fleet is even larger than we anticipated." Chen nodded, his face set with determination. "Send word to all commands. We're initiating Delta Protocol." Across human space, hidden weaponry powered up. Stealth fleets moved into position. And on Earth, deep beneath the waves, the Nexus began to pulse with otherworldly energy. As the final preparations were made, a message spread through every human colony, ship, and station. It was simple, yet powerful. "Stand firm. Stay strong. Whatever comes, we face it together. For Earth, for humanity, for our future." The galaxy held its breath. The Empire's vast armada approached, confident in their supremacy. But waiting for them was a humanity united, armed with technology and determination that would shake the very foundations of the universe. The stage was set. The greatest war in galactic history was about to begin. The silence of space was shattered as the Imperial Armada exited hyperspace near Pluto. Thousands of ships, from massive dreadnoughts to swarms of fighters, filled the void. At their center was the Imperial flagship Eternal Dominion, a planet killer capable of reducing worlds to ash. On its bridge, Emperor Zix's energy form pulsed with anticipation. "Show these primitives the might of our empire," he commanded. "Destroy their outer defenses and push towards their homeworld." The Imperial fleet surged forward, confident in their overwhelming numbers. But as they approached Neptune, they encountered their first surprise. Hidden bases on Neptune's moons suddenly came to life. Massive gravity generators activated, creating artificial singularities that wreaked havoc on the Imperial formation. Dozens of ships were torn apart or collided with each other in the chaos. Before the Empire could regroup, a fleet of human ships emerged from Saturn's rings. They were unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered, sleek, organic-looking vessels that moved with impossible speed and agility. Admiral Chen's voice boomed across all frequencies. "This is your final warning. Leave our system or face the consequences." Emperor Zix's response was to order all ships to open fire. The space between Saturn and Neptune lit up with energy weapons and explosions. But the human ships were not alone. From Jupiter's moons, enormous railguns began firing projectiles at near-light speed. Each shot tore through multiple Imperial ships, leaving trails of destruction. On Earth, in the UEDF Command Center, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold. "Initiate Phase 2, he ordered. Suddenly, the Imperial fleet's communications were flooded with conflicting orders and false information. Captain Harper's stealth mission had succeeded. They had infiltrated the Empire's networks. Confusion spread through the Imperial ranks as ships received contradictory commands. Some retreated, others pressed forward, and many simply held position, unsure what to believe. Taking advantage of the chaos, the human fleet struck hard. Their weapons, powered by technology reverse-engineered from ancient alien ruins found beneath the Martian surface, cut through Imperial shields like they weren't even there. Emperor Zix raged on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion. "Impossible. How can these primitives stand against us?" In his anger, he made a fateful decision. "Prepare the planet killer. We'll reduce their homeworld to dust." As the Eternal Dominion pushed towards Earth, leaving the main battle behind, a small group of human ships broke off to intercept. Leading them was the Defiant, piloted by none other than Amani Okoro, the young recruit who had shown exceptional skill in training. "Remember your training." Commander Sarah Lee's voice came through the comm. "You're humanity's last line of defense. Make us proud." Amani's hands were steady on the controls as she led her squadron towards the massive Imperial flagship. "For Earth," she whispered, engaging the Defiant's experimental phase shift drive. The human ships seemed to flicker in and out of existence, making them nearly impossible to target. They weaved through the Imperial defenses, unleashing a barrage of quantum torpedoes that overwhelmed the Eternal Dominion's shields. But the Imperial flagship was not defenseless. It returned fire, its massive energy beams vaporizing two of Amani's squadron. The loss of her comrades fueled Amani's determination. All ships focus fire on their main weapon. As the battle raged in space, Earth itself was not idle. The ground-based defenses activated, creating a shield around the planet that deflected the Empire's long-range attacks. Deep beneath the Pacific, Dr. Tanaka initiated the Nexus. A wave of energy pulsed outward, enveloping Earth's defenders. Amani gasped as she felt her ship become one with her thoughts, responding faster than humanly possible. With their enhanced capabilities, the human ships danced around the Eternal Dominion, striking with precision. Amani found a weak spot and fired, her shot piercing the flagship's core. The Eternal Dominion began to break apart, its destruction sending shockwaves through the Imperial fleet. Emperor Zix, his golden exoskeleton damaged, barely escaped in a pod. As news of their emperor's defeat spread, the Imperial attack faltered. The human forces pressed their advantage, driving the invaders back. Admiral Chen's voice rang out once more. "You have felt but a fraction of our strength. Retreat now, or be destroyed entirely." This time, the Imperial fleet listened. Ships began jumping to hyperspace, fleeing the system they had so confidently entered. As the last Imperial ships disappeared, cheers erupted throughout human space. They had faced the greatest power in the galaxy and emerged victorious. But Admiral Chen and the other leaders knew this was only the beginning. The Empire would return, and next time, they would be prepared for humanity's tricks. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Amani looked out at the star-filled sky. Humanity had won its first battle against the Galactic Empire, but the war was far from over. The real test was yet to come. 3 months had passed since humanity's victory in the Sol system. The Galactic Empire, still reeling from their unexpected defeat, had retreated to lick their wounds. But both sides knew the war was far from over. On the Imperial capital world of Coruscant Prime, Emperor Zix called an emergency meeting of his war council. His energy form crackled with barely contained rage. "How?" he demanded. "How did these humans defeat our greatest fleet?" General Kraz, his pride still stinging from the loss, spoke up. "Your Majesty, we've analyzed their technology. It's beyond anything we've seen. We believe they've somehow gained access to precursor artifacts." The room fell silent. The precursors, an ancient race that had vanished eons ago, were thought to be mere legend. If the humans had their technology, "Then we must strike now," Zix declared, "before they can fully harness this power. Prepare for a full-scale invasion of their colonies. We'll draw them out and crush them." Meanwhile, in a secret facility on Mars, humanity was preparing its next move. Admiral Chen stood before a holographic display of the galaxy, surrounded by leaders from Earth and its colonies. "The Empire is mobilizing for another attack," he reported. "But this time, we're not waiting for them to come to us." Dr. Tanaka stepped forward. "Project Nexus has given us the ability to open stable wormholes. We can strike at the heart of the Empire before they're ready." The President of the United Earth Alliance nodded gravely. "Do it. But remember, our goal isn't conquest. We want to end this war, not become conquerors ourselves." As preparations were made, Amani Okoro found herself promoted to squadron leader. Her actions in the Battle of Sol had made her a hero, but the weight of command sat heavily on her young shoulders. "You ready for this?" Captain Harper asked as they boarded the stealth ship, Shadow. Amani nodded, her face set with determination. "Ready to end this war, sir." The plan was audacious. While the main human fleet engaged the Empire's forces near the colony world of Nova Terra, drawing their attention, a small team would slip behind enemy lines. Their target, the Empire's primary shipyards at Kuat. As the battle raged near Nova Terra, the Shadow and a small group of ships emerged from a wormhole near Kuat. The massive ring-shaped shipyards hung in space, surrounded by a defensive fleet. "Stealth systems holding," Harper reported. "They don't see us." Amani led her squadron towards the shipyards, while Harper's team prepared to infiltrate the command center. But as they approached, alarms suddenly blared. "They've detected us," Amani shouted, swerving to avoid enemy fire. What followed was chaos. Amani's pilots, their ships enhanced by Nexus technology, danced through the Imperial defenses, but the Empire's numbers were overwhelming. Inside the shipyards, Harper and his team fought their way to the central control room. "We need to overload the main reactors," he grunted, firing at Imperial troops. Back on the bridge of the Shadow, Amani made a split-second decision. "All ships, form on me. We're going in." In a daring maneuver, Amani led her squadron straight into the shipyards themselves. They weaved through half-built Imperial ships, their weapons tearing through vital systems. Harper's voice crackled over the comm. "We've got control of the reactors, but we can't stop the overload. This whole place is going to blow." "Get to the extraction point," Amani ordered. "We'll cover you." As Harper's team raced back to their ship, Amani and her pilots kept the Imperial forces at bay. The shipyards began to break apart around them as the reactors went critical. In a flash of light visible across half the sector, the Kuat shipyards exploded. The Shadow and Amani's remaining ships barely escaped through a hastily opened wormhole. The loss of their primary shipyards was a devastating blow to the Empire. But more significant was the message it sent. Humanity could strike anywhere, at any time. As news of the raid spread, unrest grew throughout the Empire. Species that had long chafed under Imperial rule began to rebel, inspired by the human success. On a dozen worlds, revolutions broke out. The Empire, already stretched thin by the war with humanity, struggled to maintain control. In the aftermath of the Kuat raid, Admiral Chen addressed the United Earth Alliance. "Today, we've struck a significant blow against the Empire, but more importantly, we've given hope to all those they've oppressed. This isn't just our war anymore. It's a fight for freedom across the galaxy." As cheers erupted in the chamber, Amani stood quietly at the vac. She thought of the pilots she'd lost, the destruction she'd witnessed. Victory was within reach, but at what cost? The war had reached its turning point. The Galactic Empire was on the defensive, and humanity was no longer fighting alone. But the greatest battles, and the hardest choices, still lay ahead. The galaxy was in chaos. 6 months had passed since the destruction of the Kuat shipyards, and a galactic empire was crumbling. Rebellion had spread like wildfire, with dozens of species rising up against their oppressors. Emperor Zix, his energy form now contained in a battle-scarred exoskeleton, addressed his remaining loyal forces. "The time has come for our final stand. We will crush these humans and their allies, reminding the galaxy why we have ruled for millennia." The Empire had gathered every ship, every soldier, every weapon they had left. Their target, Earth itself. If they could destroy humanity's homeworld, they believed, the rebellion would crumble. On Earth, the United Earth Defense Force prepared for the coming storm. Admiral Chen stood before a holographic map of the solar system, surrounded by representatives from 100 alien races who had joined humanity's cause. "The Empire comes with everything they have left," Chen said gravely. "But they face not just humanity now, but a united galaxy. Today, we fight for freedom for all." As the Imperial Armada approached, humanity unleashed its full might. The Nexus, now fully understood and integrated into their technology, allowed for tactics the Empire couldn't comprehend. Ships phased in and out of reality, striking from impossible angles. Wormholes opened in the midst of enemy formations, unleashing devastating attacks before closing. Amani Okoro led the Defiant and her squadron into the heart of the battle. Her skills, honed over months of war, were pushed to their limits as she danced through the chaos. "Watch your left, Talon 3," she called out as her ship narrowly avoided a barrage of Imperial fire. "All units, focus on their command ships. We need to break their coordination." On the surface of Mars, massive cannons fired streams of exotic particles, creating localized time distortions that trapped entire sections of the Imperial fleet in temporal stasis. But the Empire was not going down without a fight. Their remaining planet killer, Galactic Doom, pushed through the defenses, its main weapon powering up to target Earth. Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "We can't let that ship fire. All available units, converge on the Galactic Doom." Amani's squadron joined a massive assault on the Imperial superweapon. But its defenses were formidable, swatting ships out of the sky by the dozens. "We're not making a dent," Amani shouted, frustration evident in her voice. Suddenly, a familiar voice came over the channel. "Then maybe it's time for a little infiltration." It was Captain Harper and the crew of the Shadow. Using their stealth technology, enhanced by the Nexus, the Shadow slipped past the Galactic Doom's defenses. Harper and his team breached the hull, fighting their way towards the main reactor. As the battle raged outside, Harper faced off against none other than Emperor Zix himself in the reactor room. "You primitives," Zix snarled, his energy form lashing out with tendrils of pure power. "You've destroyed everything I've built." Harper dodged the attack, his Nexus-enhanced reflexes barely keeping him alive. "You built an empire of oppression and fear," he shot back. "We're here to tear it down." With a desperate lunge, Harper activated the device Dr. Tanaka had given him. It created a localized wormhole, sucking the Emperor's energy form into it before collapsing. "Emperor neutralized," Harper reported, his voice weary. "Initiating reactor overload." Outside, Amani saw the Galactic Doom starting to break apart. "All units, fall back," she ordered. "It's gonna blow." The destruction of the Galactic Doom, with Emperor Zix aboard, was the final blow. Across the battlefield, Imperial ships began to surrender or flee. As the dust settled, Admiral Chen's voice rang out across all frequencies. "Imperial forces, your leader is gone. Your superweapon is destroyed. This war is over. Lay down your arms, and you will be treated fairly under galactic law." In the days that followed, the galaxy began the long process of rebuilding. The Empire was no more, replaced by a galactic federation of free worlds, with Earth as a key member. Amani stood on the observation deck of the Defiant, looking out at the stars. Captain Harper joined her, both of them contemplating the future they had fought so hard to secure. "What now?" Amani asked softly. Harper smiled. "Now we explore. There's a whole universe out there, and for the first time, it's truly free." As ships from 100 worlds gathered around Earth, a new era dawned. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious, not just for themselves, but for all sentient beings. The stars, once a battlefield, now beckoned with the promise of peace and discovery, and humanity, along with their new allies, was ready to answer that call. 5 years had passed since the fall of the Galactic Empire. The galaxy, once ruled by fear and oppression, was now experiencing an unprecedented era of peace and cooperation under the newly formed Galactic Federation. On Earth, in the gleaming halls of the Federation headquarters, Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's representative, prepared for a crucial meeting. The chamber was filled with delegates from hundreds of worlds, a colorful array of species that would have been unimaginable just a few years ago. As Chen took his seat, he couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. The sacrifices, the battles, the moments of despair and triumph. It all seemed like a lifetime ago. The meeting was called to order by the Federation president, a wise being from a race that had suffered greatly under imperial rule. Today, she announced, we face a new challenge. We've detected signals from beyond the edges of our galaxy. We are not alone in the universe. A murmur ran through the assembly. Chen leaned forward, intrigued. This was why he had joined the Federation Council, the promise of new frontiers, new discoveries. Meanwhile, on the far reaches of explored space, the starship Horizon cruised through an uncharted sector. On its bridge stood Captain Amani Okoro, her eyes gleaming with the same determination that had made her a hero in the war. Captain, her science officer reported, we're picking up some strange readings from that nebula ahead. Amani nodded. Take us in, nice and easy. Let's see what we found. As the Horizon entered the nebula, the crew gasped in awe. Hidden within the cosmic dust was an ancient space station, clearly of precursor origin. The same advanced race whose technology had given humanity the edge in the war against the Empire. Back on Earth, in a quiet suburban home, Jack Harper, formerly captain of the Shadow, sat with his family. His children listened with wide eyes as he recounted tales of the war, of bravery and sacrifice. But remember, he told them, war isn't glorious. We fought because we had to secure a peaceful future for you. His wife, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, nodded in agreement. And now, she added, we use what we learned to build, not destroy. The Nexus technology that won us the war now powers our cities, heals our sick, and helps us explore the stars. Across the galaxy, on worlds once crushed under the Empire's heel, life was flourishing. Species that had been on the brink of extinction were recovering. Cultures that had been suppressed for generations were experiencing a renaissance. On the former imperial capital of Coruscant Prime, now renamed Unity, a grand museum opened its doors. It stood as a reminder of the past and a beacon for the future. Visitors from across the galaxy came to learn about the war that had reshaped their lives. One exhibit drew particular attention, a holographic display of the final battle. As visitors watched the fall of the Galactic Doom, a small child tugged on her mother's sleeve. Mom, she asked, her eyes wide, were the humans really that brave? The mother, a member of a species that had joined the humans in the final push against the Empire, smiled. They were, little one. And their bravery inspired us all to be brave too. As the day drew to a close, Admiral Chen stood on a balcony overlooking the sprawling Federation capital. The sky was filled with ships from 100 worlds, all living and working together in harmony. His comlink beeped, a message from Amani about the precursor station. Chen smiled, knowing that a new adventure was just beginning. But as he prepared to join the emergency council meeting, a thought nagged at him. The Empire had fallen, yes, but its ideology of supremacy and domination was as old as civilization itself. Would the Federation truly be different, or would power, as it always did, eventually corrupt? Chen shook off the doubt. The Federation wasn't perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. A chance for all species to work together, to face the universe's challenges as one. As he walked back inside, Chen's resolve strengthened. They had fought too hard, sacrificed too much, to let this new era of peace and cooperation fail. Whatever challenges lay ahead, be they from within their ranks or from the depths of intergalactic space, they would face them together. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson: underestimate humans at your peril. But humans, in turn, had learned the value of unity, of fighting not just for themselves, but for all sentient beings. As the stars twinkled in the night sky, the promise of a brighter future shone even brighter. The war was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning.